Oh my.
Pump it. Pump it. Pump it.
I guess I need to go live. Let puppy go.
You're beautiful.
Ah. It's Scroll! Welcome in. We did a hype train! We did one! How's everyone doing? I got a puppy down here staring at me. Okay, well. Let's get myself sorted. First of all, Moira. Sassy, first of all, thank you for being first. Second, thank you for the resubscribe. And Babber, thank you so much for the resub as well. And Chris, thank you for the resub. And then Babber, thank you for the bits and completing the hype train. That's awesome. Ah! Okay. Yeah, so there's still so much left. I was looking at the wiki just for timing. Oh my gosh. Moira. No. I'm gonna switch this off. Like, oh my god. I don't know what she's looking at, but she's mad about something. And I can't get her. Yeah. Okay, so everything that's going on, I was looking at the wiki to see what I had left, like as far as like amount of things, and we are on February 24th trial former, and then there's still trial ladder, another investigation. I only looked at the wiki just to get like the actual number of them. I didn't look at anything, just like the main page to see how many there was, like. And then there's still the 25th, and there's still 3 trial sessions, it looks like. So so yeah, it looks like essentially I have like 6 modules left. Yeah. But it feels like a lot. And that's why I'm just kind of assuming that I feel like we have a lot left. And I didn't look at what it was or how long it took. But yeah. I missed the train. Better luck next time. Yeah, but this one actually is 4 days because it has like a day 1 investigation. And then, yeah, trial day 2 is what we're on. So, or we're going in. I don't know, this one's weird because it is 4 days. It's like the 22nd, the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. And then, yeah, there's 3 trial days, but then there was investigation day at the start. I don't know. Anyways, it feels like there's a lot left. I was kind of hoping to like finish this up. I'm getting like, burnout isn't the right word on it, but I'm just like, I want to get to a point where it's done, and then I want to do something else. It feels like this one's really dragging on, and I think that's kind of what you said, Scroll. Like, this one will drag on. It's very long. It's like 12 hours on its own. So I just didn't really put that in my mind as far as like what that means. But yeah. Everyone, thank you so much for the contributions, and hopefully you got awesome hype train emotes. I don't know. As a hype train receiver, this is number 5. This is chapter 5. This is Rise from the Ashes, is what we're going to be playing. So yeah, it's the 5th long chapter, and I think people. Again, I was looking at like times. Game 2, chapter 4 is almost as long, but it feels like you're learning and stuff as you go. It doesn't feel like it drags, at least not too much. Yeah, that's fair. I just feel like I've like hit a limit with it for now. I want to do something different. I want to do maybe like a different game is kind of the thing. Like, I've been doing the same few games for the last little while. Like, it's great playing Valheim with Chris, and I'm really enjoying Stardew. And I feel like I've been doing this for a long time. So Banner borked right as it started. Oh no. There's at least 2 chapters that are longer than Rise from the Ashes. Oh man. So that's a lot. But also, is it just me that the game sound is too high? I can just turn down my speaker. It was like it was blasting at me. Oh, I got a hype train emote. There we go. It should tell you now. I got love peeker. That's awesome. Game 2 circus is rough. The rest I found to be okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, we're not on game 2 yet, and I think I might do something else in between. Going back to the second game of this. Generally, top 5. Generally, final chapters in the top 5. Is that from a perspective of, like, length, or, like, how good they are? Or how wild they get? We don't talk about the circus. It's funny because you're talking about these things and I don't know what you're talking about. Just blissfully. How good and how wild. Gotcha. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm excited to keep going. Yes, yes, yes. I am excited to keep going. I'm also excited to like finish off this game, and then I do think I want to move on to something else for a little bit. Maybe like a shorter game in between on Sunday nights that I can play. And then something else, and then we can come back to game 2 a little bit later. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna jump into it though. I need to move you back over here. 2-3 is agreed to be in the bottom 5 chapters. Let's go here. No buoy cam at the moment. Nope. Cool. Yeah, so this is what we're on. Day 3, Trial Former, Rise from the Ashes. Yes. Do I have it? I do. Perfect. All right, February 24th, 9:41 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Okay, let's get after it. Ooh, he's getting dinner. Is Moira not upstairs? So what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. Sherlock Sholmes is in. So funny. A different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana. Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. Yeah, I normally go through those too, but I'm not too fussed about having the dog camera up. Everything else is pretty much set. But yeah, I do the same thing. I'll click through everything just to make sure that I have it in the right spot. And then hope I hit the right button when I'm actually flipping with my Stream Deck. It says, Mr. Wright suspects the police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind the simultaneous murder, they wouldn't see capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Bloodstained fingerprints, to be exact. That's a trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Okay. I think if we can get through this whole day today, I'll count it as, like, successful. We have 3 hours. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today, I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. That sounded weird because I thought the sentence was ending halfway through that. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Oh, is this gonna be Meekins? Ugh. Ugh. This guy sucks. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir. I'm Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir. That's my occupation. Murderer. So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I was the one who did it. Why does he still have that? I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is... Sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend. Ugh, that's the worst. He should never have a megaphone. Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Help me, sir. Okay, Zoomer. Officer Meekins. Yes, sir. Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir, as you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir. You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Crime report, sir. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man... Oh. Sorry. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out. Until another officer smacked me awake. The victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you? Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir. I see. Then you fainted, and a colleague helped you regain consciousness. Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. What I need here is more info to work with. No kidding. Press him. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I'm in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes. Now there's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir. The Blue Badger? Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by Chief of Detectives, sir. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. I see. Sounds like a very important mission. After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there? I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. Press. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir. Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck. So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? There it is. I found it. This is the one right here. Could you please read us the number? Yes, sir. It's 498-9596. That's my number, sir. I see. Huh. But the number 498-9596 is shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down. I see. No, Blue! That's okay. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I appreciate it. I thought about starting a little bit earlier.
You're beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Blue. Oh, I hope you have a good sleep. So it was during that second time when... Yes, sir. That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. Stated. Yep, have a good night, Blue. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you? It was a knife, sir. A knife. Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then? Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was. You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into. That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. I fought for my life, then I did it. What exactly do you mean when you say you did it? I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him. He took his knife? I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man. I see. The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then... Then the next thing I knew... Yes? He punched me right in my face, sir. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. But what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious. Right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying, tears of pain. Got a buoy? Oh, buoy. You're not in the picture. Is that better? That's better. That's nice. I mean, that's nice that you recovered, that is. When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir. Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand. Well, we can all rest easy now. I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? It's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins? With regard to that, sir. Take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir. The chief delivered it? What is that? Videotape? Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room. What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake. I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at. Looks like the communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim. Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me. A video of a real murder, just what are we getting ourselves into? That's terrifying. Like, legit. Thing of nightmares. How did he get out? But how did he get out? Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Just ahead of the curve. Scroll, your street's ahead, bud. Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir. Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Yes, well, anyway. This tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room, and some sort of activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins? Yes, sir. As you wish, sir. Yes. I remember we went and looked for your, or the video of it. On his YouTube, and we found it when he was unpackaging it. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have had to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. Okay. I think I clicked through one of the things, so sorry about that. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do it. The locker opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. Okay, let's start here and just press on everything. Okay. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife? Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would be classified as the latter. The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you're the person who fought him, aren't you? Oh yes, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see. Yeah, it's a good trait for a police officer. Still, I'm sure it was him. I'll bet my badge on it. But there's no question the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. Well, you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face. Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen it. Since his face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it. Why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing or... Meekins. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify. Yes, sir. You claim the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him.
You're beautiful.
Crispy, thank you. Oh my gosh, what's with all the love today, guys? Ah. Making me... You're stressing me out. Not actually, though. I just appreciate all of you. Tell us why you're positive it was him. I mean, he opened the locker which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. About these lockers, is there no other way to open them? No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. You only respond to registered fingerprints, sir. Wonder what kind of methods he's tried. The man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to its registered fingerprints. Then he must be the person the locker was assigned to. Exactly my point, sir. And this too. How do you know that information? I've heard rumors, sir, from people in the know, sir. People in the know? The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. Thanks, Crispy. I hope you feel better. I've had a headache all day, too, and it just kind of went away not too long ago, so... Yeah, I feel your pain. So the workers in the department cafeteria, sir, they keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir. For the record, the open locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it. However, the most important detail is not shown in this video. The man's face. Sir, if I may say something, sir. Please do, after all, you are the one being examined. I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was a hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir. Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Let's check the court record again. What do we have from that last spot? There's blood there, there's blood here, there's blood here. I'm gonna save here. Just in case I mess up. So, from the court record, what do we have? We have the blue badger. We saw the glove fall out, right? Ooh, I forgot about this stuff. It's already opened. Blue, how's it going? Welcome in. Okay, I'm gonna say there's a problem. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. He would want me to point it out. Literally your job, man. Well, very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. This is the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Nope, never seen the face. Or we never get to see the face. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play it too many times. I can't watching this video, or I can't stand watching this video. Now to the Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? Big T, how's it going? Welcome in. I was lurking in your stream all afternoon, actually, but I was doing some other stuff, so I didn't chat or anything. But welcome in. How'd things go today? The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins. Sir, do you mean me, sir? As I understand, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released. According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir. If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. Yeah, we're getting to the first little bit of contradictions. I'm happy I saw that, actually. I don't know, I guess I'm on the ball today. I'm figuring it out. But I'm glad you had a peaceful day. Let's rewind to a little earlier. Gearing up for the mountains. It should be fun for you guys. Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Wild. Order. What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know. It must have been broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert on this. It's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh, well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes, why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor? There's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked, Mr. Wright. Please point out the cause for this. So it's the glove that falls. I remember that. Fast forward. No. Rewind. Pause.
Take that!
It's the glove! Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. No, booey. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker? But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I haven't fall out and rolled great distances when I open my car door, sir. We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted?
Pump it.
Jet, thanks for the resub. I appreciate it. Man, this has been a day. You guys are so good. So amazing. I appreciate you all. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor. Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Thank you for the friendship, Jet. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. We're actually doing okay today. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene. There just might have been something that fits the description. But sir, by insulator, don't you mean... think I finally got this figured out? Very well, will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker door? Literally saw that it was a glove. Come on, people. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. This is how good we're doing. Edgeworth is mad. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir, it would appear so, sir. Order, order, order. So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. Mystery Man number 2. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. But who's this? The ID used at 514 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does not strike me as usual. Or does not strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination. Ugh. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. So unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you? Yes, sir. Solid as stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give you the V for victory sign, sir. Couldn't he just use his right hand for that? Oh no, Sassy. That's how it always is though, right? You get the stuff after you need it. Like any like RPG, ARPG, anything like that. Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. Yeah, I bet that would have been super useful, Sassy. Is that card hanging from your neck? One of these ID cards? Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck in when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of my door closing, my ID card chokes me. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this. Okay. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to. Let me see. Yes, that would be it. Detective Goodman. What's the matter? According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. So it is, Your Honor. Sassy, have a good night. Thanks for stopping in. We'll probably chat tomorrow. Not that prosecutor again. Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could hide the evidence. It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination. Earlier, I believe when you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir, he didn't show me any ID card, sir. Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked? Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. I'm confused. What? The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this. You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we've got. I don't actually want to present anything right now. I guess this is like pretty obvious. Found at the prosecutor's office crime scene. We made some progress. We'll save just in case. I'm gonna do this. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene, the underground parking lot at the prosecution's office. Or the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. A lost item report? It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there's a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order, order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. Sorry, need some water. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Not just the clown, you're the entire circus. I like how we just prove him wrong. He's like, yeah, well done, sir. Well done. Here's our position. That's exactly what you just pointed out. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? I hate Edgeworth. I don't like him. Yes. That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murderer in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... Well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well, well. It seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. We just proved that the other guy was actually Goodman and we murdered him. And Lana murdered him. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So, the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot. at the prosecutor's office. The murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment of the defendant used the murder weapon. You proved your client innocent, but didn't prove who the real murderer was? Still guilty. Yep. That's what this whole game is. If we don't have someone, it has to be the last person who was accused. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something, or else, Lana. What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Just gonna keep saving every time we get one of these, like, 50-50 points. Oh, we did have the tape there. Oh no, an ad starting! In 3 minutes. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. Addiction, welcome in. How's it going? What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Got a TARDIS on Fallout 4. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any witnesses for this, or any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honor? The defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then. Mr. Wright, this person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? Okay, there's an ad starting in a couple seconds, so I'm just gonna hold off on progressing. It's only a minute ad if it ever starts. Oh, I need a stretch though. I'm gonna stand up. Oof. I am doing well, Addiction. Thanks. How are you doing today? There's the ad break. And welcome back, everyone. So Addiction. Good recently bought Fallout 4 and saw a mod that said something about fixing sounds for a Doctor Who mod. So I downloaded the full one. That's cool. So, like, you're Doctor Who inside Fallout? Is that how that works? But also, why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense request. That was like super anticlimactic for the time that the ad came up and we had to wait for that response. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. The prosecution, please prepare the witness during this time. We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Back in the lobby. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. Lana. You're the one who knows everything. Emma. Oh. Oh, bye. You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Gumshoe. Gumshoe's my favorite character. He's just so ridiculous. I love him. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey. 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 Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh, ho ho ho. That was so much. You mean this, right? My apologies, detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Gumshoe's amazing. He's just so silly. Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I need them by noon. Talk about crazy. Old Bag was so good, though. You didn't like Old Bag, Big T? I thought she was hilarious. Just chef's kiss. Great character. But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Miss Sky was a witness? Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. The second day of that case drives me crazy. That's fair. I feel like that's how it is with like a lot of the characters. Like, right at first they're fantastic, or like, you know, whatever. But then as they keep going, they're just terrible. Like Meekins, I can't stand Meekins from the start though. Just so bad. And then the chief of police too. He's kind of weird. Oh, what? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Larry Butts, yes, and Harry Butts. Emma, but why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana. This SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark... No. No, Lana. That's over with. No. Emma, wait. She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Just slinking off the bed. He's actually, like, fully on the bed. It's just the cameras that not good. Like, hey there, boo. It still didn't work. That's okay. I really liked how much of this game kind of came back around to SL9. It's better, but still not great. Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't just be a coincidence. Knowing you might just be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. What? What? Here, just read this stack of 700 pages in 30 minutes. You'll be fine. Perpetrator, Joe Dart, serial murder, sentence, death. Victims, Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall, Jeb Bates. Beings can't read, so it's fine. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, witnesses Lana Sky and Emma Sky. Executive investigators Damon Gant, Lana Sky. Head investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigators Jake Marshall, Angel Star. Okay. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. Better take a good look at this file. See? Yes, let's save our progress. Okay. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Are we just gonna let him, like, drink out of that? Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man. Same as you. Wander the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. Yeah, I go in there every once in a while and check everything around. I think someone who was in here earlier, I think you're probably still here, Scroll. You keep telling me to click on the plant, and I haven't seen anything funny come up with it yet. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. Charlie is the best character. See, I haven't met Charlie yet. At least this fantastic character that is Charlie. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Oh, I know that's the, like, I know that's the plan, just... I don't know, I haven't seen anything funny yet. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. Gizmo, welcome in. How'd your day go? How'd your cards tournament go? Desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Oh, this guy's insufferable. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Astronomically insane bad luck? Oh no! Does that mean you didn't win? Please share with us the testimony of... Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. Get him next week. Yeah. In plain old English. Do you actually have another tournament next week? My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, their room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. So I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. The offense! Oh my god. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Oh, okay. So, yeah. There's always next week, I guess. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. My day's going okay. I had a bit of a headache this morning, but it passed, and I'm good to go tonight. And we got through the first little bit in about an hour, which is nice, and a nice change of pace for how I usually play these games. Got everything right the first time. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Oh yeah, and I also set up that Valheim server, which is fun. I'm excited for it. Get some people on there and play. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you, that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How's this guy avoid being fired? Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyways. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a goldmine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's Vongole Sepia pasta. Did I say that right, Gizmo? Was that Italian enough? You mean to tell us that you abandon your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. I need to write that down for next week. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, did you not want to raise this year? I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Out of ammo, officer? That's right, partner. Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I better up the ante. Okay. So, like... It was this one, right? That was his? Is there not a way that I can press here? I guess not. Like, do I just present it here, maybe? When he calls me out? Like, I don't want to just jump into it. Yeah, Marshall's fingerprints. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away, however. Well, Officer Marshall, it seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the bloodstained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as a bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's no room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in the evidence room. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said.
Water tribe.
Ooh, thanks for the hydrate. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine, it's no mystery. Please explain. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Unrelated? They aren't, or they're as different as night and day. Kind of like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, though, to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? The seal of blood in the desert. It's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. Camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Ay, ay. Like, I wanna... Show evidence in the video. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Whoa, save. I guess it's already too late. I'm in this now. Whatever. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness. This is what I really wanted to do, is to, like, pause things. Is it his knife? Also, super sorry for the nightmare fuel, Blue Badger. I'm gonna try his knife. There. How's that for evidence? Please allow me to apologize for my colleague, Your Honor. He gets carried away sometimes. Yes, well, this certainly isn't a first. He's not a bad man, just a bit disillusioned. Oh, it's a different knife. Of course, I'm not one to gun down unarmed boys. Boo! I honestly just forgot what his knife looked like. Okay. Wearing gloves, happen to place their hand on top of fingerprints. Do I have anything else in the court record? And it might be one of those. There's not actually any evidence. Didn't notice that before. Neil Marshall? You think that's Jake's dad or something? Full blind spots, places you can't see. Turning back and forth. Floor isn't shown. Show us the evidence in the videos that indicates Officer Marshall was present. Please do so now. Ugh. I'm gonna save here. So that I have this save point if I keep messing up. Like, there has to be something. Okay. Okay, so there's that. He comes in. Came in just for the UGG. Valk will come in. This is just, it's one of those things where it's like, is there something that, you know, I don't know. It's one of the is there actually something wrong with the video, or maybe there's not and there's other evidence I need to show, and I'm flip-flopping on that right now. That got me before, where I was like looking at a bunch of things and like trying, and then Muffin was like, yeah, but is there actually anything wrong with that? And I was like, no. So it's just one of those weird spots where I have to like. I'm trying to decide. But welcome in, Valk. How was your day? How was your weekend? Maybe he's not, because he's... Marshall left-handed? Is this another one of those, like, right-hand, left-hand things? Hmm. Oh, that's awesome, Doc. I'm glad to hear you had a good weekend. Yeah. I know, like, we moved a couple years ago, and then, like, just last year we did a whole bunch of renovations in the basement, so I totally appreciate, like, just sitting down after all of that work and enjoying the space or enjoying your own time and space. Faber, did you see something? Like, how convenient is this? And annoying. I just saw that at the end. Bring our attention back to the security camera. As a mistake, I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. Thanks, Faber. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. That's 2. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order, order. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault that he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. Hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say open that locker? Now prove it. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Witness, explain yourself. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? Alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these 4 plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. What? What? What's the question? Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? But we saw him. He was... Ah... Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. And how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yeah, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. You have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. You got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. What's with this beard? Ugh. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. What can I do? Looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. Make him try on the glove. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. The glove does fit, you must prosecute. Not the same rhyme, but it works. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall, dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all of our unanswered questions. Take another look. Save. Okay. To committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Oh, is it because of the blood? For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. Hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. Okay, I'm going to leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger. I'm going to run an ad, and I'm going to run to the washroom. So, sit tight, or, get up, move around, stretch. But I will be right back. Okay, we're back. Seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. And I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Hey. When you say it, you mean... You even have to ask, partner? SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what, the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I plan to take out the evidence. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID? I have to think a little more about his race this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... See, but it didn't look the same in the... Ugh. It didn't look the same. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in the struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day, there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. You stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? Still missing, Your Honor. So Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer, this is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? That case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved a sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murderers, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at all the files. Is it actually this, Neil Marshall? You gonna try this? Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. Cactus juice, it's the quenchiest. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. And a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed. And the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the deputy chief of police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all that was needed. Or that was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. Imagine just being a witness there, like, chirping the prosecutor and defendant, or defense counsel. Of all the mysteries at the police department, all of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. New do to boot it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. Mr. Saw It did it. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Objection? I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. Disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was faked. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for a verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Your Honor, wait. Emma. The defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright? Are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killing. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Skye sisters were in that file. That's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. I left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So, did you find something? No. Sorry. I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. We got past that other thing. Let's save. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be... please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I've ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? What am I missing here? This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? Mean something has been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. Is this where we use the blue badger? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Think it through, scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you report really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place? Only one piece of evidence that can show that. What shows when the first crime took place? Is it this? So it's either this because it's within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. I mean, we'll start here. I think this is probably the logical one. Because, like, this, within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. And it doesn't show him going in there. This is the proof. It's quite simple, you see. If it's so simple, then don't get it wrong. Huh? First crime took place before the Blue Badger was brought into the room, right? Say, when was the Blue Badger brought in there anyways? Don't we have a chart listing a bunch of times for something? Oh, okay. So it was one of the two things. Oh, and we're just gonna implicate Edgeworth too. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah. Ah. Miles Edgeworth. Just what have you done? I never would have figured you'd had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just had 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining, 7777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Sorry. Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7s. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question. No, not you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana. I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, just what are you saying? During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Multiple orders. Lana's remark caused such a stir, the chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. Whew. Ooh. Scroll, are you still here? Or Blue, have you played this game? Okay, so it's day 3 investigation. That's next. Okay. I think that's what I wanted to check. So we'll have day 3 investigation, and then we will also have trial. So I think that's going to be next week. I'm pretty content to take this as a 2.5-ish hour stream. And we will hopefully finish up next week. If I do everything right. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Cool. Yeah. Okay, you've seen streams but not this case. Okay. Well, I'm gonna jump over to my chatting screen, and we're gonna put Bowie up on screen. Even though he's like in the worst possible spot and you're just seeing his butt, so maybe I'll turn that off. Oops, he just got puppy butt. I just want some music. Are we gonna get music? Well, you'll get some clicking. That's fine. But yeah, successful day, I'd say. Actually finished that in a reasonable amount of time. I didn't really struggle with anything, I don't think. Maybe I'm finally thinking like a terrible lawyer. But thank yous. Oh my gosh, so much to go through today. All right, where are we? We're here. Sassy, thank you for being first and the resub. Babber, thank you for the resub and starting the hype train. Chris, thank you for the resub. Babber, thank you for the bits that got us to level 1 hype train. And Bruised, thank you so much for the 18 bits. Quispy, thank you so much for sharing 200 bits. And Jet, thank you for resubbing. And then, yeah, Addiction, thanks for keeping an eye on me and making me hydrate. I appreciate that. But also just in general, like, thank you everyone for showing up today. Like, this has been lots of fun, and I really appreciate everyone showing up and hanging out. I think we're gonna go out and raid. We're gonna head over to Streamin' Daz. Yeah, we're gonna go hang out over there. He's playing some Stardew. He's one of Jet's Aussie friends. I have checked out a couple of his streams, and he seems like a super nice guy. He also has a puppy cam, so that's awesome. He has a super cute puppy, Ralph. And thank you so much, Blue, for that one last hydrate. But yeah, everyone, we have our raid message. Copy it, follow along in the raid if you can, and we'll go say hi over to I want to get his name right. So yeah, we're gonna head over to Streamin' Daz just in case you get lost. But yeah, otherwise, everyone have a great night. You can see by my schedule, I'll be back on Tuesday at 6 o'clock for Stardew Valley. So we'll see you then. But yeah, have a good night, everyone.